Hey guys, Shop here with a video on how to play as Nidalee jungle. She's been seeing a huge amount of popularity in the LCS recently, so I thought I'd make this quick pickup guide so you can get into solo queue, get into your games and play Nidalee jungle without failing miserably. This isn't going to be a really in-depth guide. You're not going to become a jungle Nidalee god just by watching this. This is just intended to get you on your feet and get you into games. These are the runes, skill order and mastery that Cat Sexual runs with. If you don't know who he is a challenger player on the NA server who's often coined with popularizing this jungle Nidalee. And here are some good items that you're going to want to buy. Obviously item builds are often situational, but all these choices are good. If you have any questions about items, runes, masteries, whatever it may be, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. The first thing you should know when you're playing as Nidalee jungle is that you have to clear the jungle early quite uniquely, because what she wants to do is avoid as much damage as possible. Now the way she does that is not only does she have two forms, but she also roots the jungle camps whenever she tags them with the hunt. So what she will do is that she will root them with the hunt and then attack from range, or she'll stand outside of the monster's aggro range so that it can't reach them. All this time she's hitting them from range in human form, and then when her cooldowns are up in cougar form, she'll switch into cougar form, attack the camp again, and then rinse and repeat, go back to kiting, attack from range, root it with the hunt, and then just really mop it up as you're seeing here. In the early game on jungle Nidalee, I would suggest being aggressive where you can be, whether that's counter jungling or ganking. Nidalee may not have any CC to help with her ganks, but she has a huge amount of damage and a really powerful gap closer should you tag the enemy with your hunt passive. As for counter jungling, Nidalee is one of the safest champions because not only has she got very good mobility, including being able to jump over walls with her pounce, but she can also scout out areas with her traps. In addition to her being very safe, she also has a huge amount of damage, making taking away camps extremely easy. In the mid game, Nidalee is very powerful, especially if you've been able to snowball off of a good early game. However, do be careful of those very powerful early game duelists such as Sin and Kha'Zix, because whereas Nidalee has a lot of mobility and a lot of damage, she is not strong enough to fight those champions 1v1 toe to toe unless she finds them on low health. Her crazy damage means that she can often one-combo an enemy squishy, whether that's a mid laner, the AD carry, or a particularly weak jungler. The key thing to do in the mid game is to keep pressuring the enemy to force objectives, whether that's taking towers, whether that's simply getting kills, or taking things like dragon. Whereas you're less likely to find full-blown team fights happening in the mid game, you still need to be careful of when there are a lot of enemies grouped up together. Because whereas Nidalee excels in fighting people who are isolated, if enemies have friends, then do be careful, because if you get shut down by CC, you're going to die very quickly. In a situation where there are a lot of enemy targets and you'd run the risk of dying instantly if you jumped in cougar form, just throw spears from long range, heal your allies, and look for those opportunities where there may be a squishy splintered off from the rest of the team. Unfortunately for jungle Nidalee, in the late game she does tend to fall off, as it is harder to play it to her strengths. You're obviously more likely to encounter team fights in this late game, so the advice that I gave earlier will still hold true. However, this doesn't mean that she is useless when it comes to group fights, just that you're going to be relying a bit more on your team than you did earlier on in the game. How you play team fights also depends on how you've built your jungle Nidalee. If you've gone for items such as Lichbane, then you'll want to jump in more frequently and your team fights will be slightly less impactful, because doing that is kind of risky. However, if you've just gone for full damage, then you can be fine poking with spears and doing massive heals onto your allies. Items like Zhonya's Hourglass as well will really help you in those team fights, because you can jump in, catch someone, and then pop your Zhonya's and wait for your team to collapse onto you to help you out. You don't just have to team fight, however, on Nidalee in the late game. You can split push and spread the enemy team a bit thin and try and perhaps find people who are isolated, so you can take them down in those situations where Nidalee thrives. I think that's all I need to say on this quick pickup guide. Just play her a few games, you'll definitely get the hang of her. She's really fun to play, quite unique, and yeah, definitely recommend her for this patch. So if you did enjoy this video, guys, feel free to give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to me for educational league content. You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, catch me streaming on Twitch. If you think you have a friend who might enjoy this video, feel free to share it with them as well. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.